Help! Please! Is anyone there?" The scream was so painful that Matthew's soul trembled. In the deserted alley of Manhattan, a black SUV, 3 men, and 3 girls crying helplessly. Matthew pulled out his phone, pressed the record button. "Hey, look there! Someone's filming us!" And so began that terrifying chase that would change Matthew's life forever. 3 weeks earlier, Matthew was a 28-year-old Polish young man who came to America from Poland 4 years ago. His parents had spent their entire life savings on his education. Matthew lived in a small room in the Bronx, a room that had only a bed, a table, and some space to keep clothes. During the day, he did labor at construction sites. He worked 16 hours a day, sweating under the hot sun, carrying heavy materials, building other people's dreams, while his own remained distant. Every night when he called his mother, he would lie. "Mom, everything is fine. I'm very happy. I'll bring you here soon." But inside, he was broken. His mother's hopeful voice on the other end made him feel even more guilty. It was a cold December night. Matthew was returning after finishing his shift. It was 3 a.m. The streets were empty, the cold wind cutting through his jacket. He thought if he went through Manhattan, he might find a shortcut. When he reached 10th Avenue, he saw a strange scene. A large black SUV was parked. The lights were off, but the engine was running. Exhaust smoke rising in the cold air. Maybe someone's parking, Matthew thought, but then he heard, "No! No! Please let me go!" A girl's voice, filled with fear and desperation. Matthew's steps stopped. His heart began beating rapidly. Every instinct told him something was terribly wrong. He slowly moved toward the alley. 3 heavily built men stood beside the SUV. Their faces were hard, emotionless, professional criminals. The scene he witnessed would never be forgotten in his life. 3 men were forcibly pushing 3 young girls into the car. The girls were resisting, crying, screaming for help. "Help! Someone help us!" Their voices echoed in the empty alley, but no one came. Matthew's hands began trembling. He didn't know what to do. Should he call 911? Police would take time to arrive. Should he intervene himself? There are 3 strong men. They'll kill him. Then his eyes fell on his phone. At least I can gather evidence. He quietly took out his phone, hiding behind the wall, and started recording video. The car's number, NYC 4782. The men's faces, blurry but visible. The girls' screams, clearly being recorded. His hands shook as he held the phone steady, trying to capture every detail. But then, one man's eyes fell on him. "Hey, someone's watching us! Get him!" That man's face turned toward Matthew, eyes filled with murderous intent. Matthew's heartbeat stopped. He turned and ran, as fast as he could. The sound of footsteps was coming from behind, heavy boots pounding on the pavement. "Catch him! He has the video!" Matthew kept running through the alleys, turned right, left, then straight. He didn't know where he was going. His lungs burned. His legs screamed in pain. But he couldn't stop. If they caught him, he was dead. Finally, the subway station came into view. He jumped down the stairs, nearly falling. A train was just arriving. He leaped through the closing doors. The doors shut. Matthew looked back through the window. Those 3 men were standing on the platform, staring at him with cold fury. One made a gesture of cutting his throat. A promise. A threat. Matthew's blood froze. Reaching home, he locked the door and pushed a chair behind it. Then the table. Then anything heavy he could find. His entire body was shaking. He opened his phone with trembling hands. The video was safe. Clear evidence of a crime. But what could he do with it? He couldn't sleep all night. Every sound made him jump. Every car passing by made him look out the window. Were they looking for him? Did they know where he lived? The girls' screams echoed in his mind. "Help us, please!" As soon as morning came, exhausted but determined, he went straight to the police station. He had to report this. Someone had to do something. "Officer, I need to report something." The officer sitting at the desk looked at him with barely concealed boredom. Another complaint. Another problem. "Yes, what happened?" "Last night I saw 3 girls being forcibly put into a car." The officer raised his eyes slowly. Where? On 10th Avenue, around 3 in the morning. Any evidence? Matthew took out his phone eagerly. Yes, I have a video. The officer watched the video. 30 seconds of shaky footage. Then he returned the phone dismissively. This is very blurry. Nothing is clear. But the sounds, the girl's screams are clearly audible. The officer sighed, already losing interest. Look, Mr. Matthew, this is New York. Thousands of such cases come every day. Maybe it was some domestic dispute or some drama, kids making videos. But if something really happened, someone would have reported it. You go, focus on your work. Disappointed, frustrated, angry, Matthew walked out of the police station. No one is listening. No one cares. The system he thought would help had just turned its back on him. That night he couldn't sleep again. The girl's screams were echoing in his ears, louder than ever. Help us, please! He couldn't just do nothing. He couldn't let them disappear into darkness. Matthew made a decision. If the police won't listen, he'll tell the world. He created a Facebook account. His hands shook as he uploaded the video. I saw this last night. 3 girls were kidnapped in New York. Is there anyone who can help? Number human trafficking. Number NYC. Number help them. He pressed post and waited. In 2 days, only 15 likes, 5 shares. Comments appeared. Maybe it's fake. Drama. Attention seeker. Looks staged, lol. No one was taking it seriously. The video was lost in the endless scroll of social media. 3 days passed. Matthew went to work, came back, but his mind was stuck in that alley. Those girls, where were they now? What was happening to them? The feeling of helplessness was crushing. On the 4th day evening, when he was climbing the stairs to his apartment, someone was standing outside his door. A woman, 30 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes, a laptop bag in hand. Matthew? Matthew stopped, instantly alert. Yes? Who are you? My name is Emily Carter. I'm an investigative journalist. I saw your video. Matthew's heart started beating fast. Finally, someone who believed him. You're not from the police? No, I'm an independent journalist. Can we talk? Matthew hesitantly opened the door. Emily came inside. She opened the laptop and turned to Matthew. Matthew, what you saw, this isn't an isolated incident. This is part of a very large network. What do you mean? Emily's expression was grave as she turned the screen toward him. On the screen were dozens of photos. Missing girls and boys, each with a name, each with a story. All these disappeared from New York alone in the last 6 months. 52 cases. And these are only those that were reported. The real number might be double this. Matthew's eyes widened in horror. But why doesn't the police do anything? Pain flashed across Emily's face. Her eyes filled with tears. Because these people are very powerful. They have money, they have influence. Politicians, businessmen, and some police officers are also in their pocket. She paused, fighting back emotion. That's why I created a platform. But my voice alone is weak. Emily pulled out an old photograph from her wallet. A young blonde girl, 16 years old, in a school uniform. Bright smile, full of life. This is my sister, Sophia. She disappeared 3 years ago. Emily's voice broke as tears streamed down her face. She was coming home from school, just 2 blocks from our house, and then she vanished. The police said she probably ran away, but I knew Sophia. She would never run away. She was happy. She had dreams. Emily wiped her eyes. It's been 3 years. I'm still looking for her. And I know there are thousands of girls like my Sophia. Matthew's heart clenched. He thought of his younger sister back in Poland, 15 years old, innocent, full of dreams. If something like this happened to her, he couldn't even finish the thought. I'm ready, Matthew said firmly. Tell me what we need to do. Emily's face showed relief and gratitude. They shook hands across the table. A partnership was born. A mission began. Over the next 2 weeks, Matthew and Emily worked together. They needed inside information, someone who knew how this network operated. And then they found him, Marco. They met in a dark coffee shop. Marco was a former driver who used to work for the trafficking network, A man haunted by his past. I worked for them for 2 years, Marco said, his voice heavy with regret. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was just transporting people. He buried his face in his hands. Then one day I saw a girl, maybe 14 or 15 years old. She was crying, begging for help. That day I understood what I was really doing, what I had become. Marco looked up, tears in his eyes. I quit the next day, but that girl, her face is still in my eyes. Every night I see her. I want to atone for my sins. Will you help us? Emily asked. Marco nodded firmly. Yes, I'll tell you everything. Marco told them everything. Where girls were picked up, where they were taken, who was involved. The entire operation laid bare. Matthew and Emily transformed Matthew's apartment into an investigation headquarters. Maps covered the walls. Red pins marked locations. Strings connected the dots. 12 locations in New York, all part of one massive network. Emily uploaded all this information on Truth Uncovered, her investigative platform. The website went live with detailed reports, Marco's testimony, Matthew's video, and connections between all the cases. At first, the response was slow. First week, 1,000 people viewed it. Second week, 10,000. Third week, 100,000. The numbers exploded. People were finally paying attention, sharing, commenting. Stories poured in from across the country. Mothers wrote about missing daughters. Brothers about missing sisters. Survivors shared their horrific experiences. Every story was heart-wrenching. Every story demanded justice. Truth Uncovered had become a movement. But then, the threats started. One night, Matthew opened his email. His blood turned to ice. Stop all this or we won't leave your mother alone in Poland. Attached was a photo of his mother. Outside her house, they knew where she lived. The next day, Emily's car brakes were cut. She barely survived when her car wouldn't stop at an intersection. Shaken, she stood beside her damaged vehicle, realizing how close she had come to death. The message was clear: stop or die. That same night, Marco was jumped on his way home. 2 masked men beat him brutally. Stop all this, or next time we won't leave you alive. They left him bleeding on the street. The 3 met the next day, battered, but unbroken. We can't stop now, Emily said. We're too close. They're scared, Matthew added. That means we're winning. Marco nodded. I've lived in fear for 3 years. No more. They wouldn't back down. Emily contacted the FBI. Most agents dismissed them, but one believed, Agent Sarah Davis. We've had suspicions too, but no evidence. You've done incredible work. In the FBI operations room, Agent Davis assembled a tactical team. The evidence was overwhelming. Matthew and Emily stood watching as the FBI planned their operation. Agent Davis looked at them with respect. Based on Marco's information, we'll conduct surveillance for 3 months, build an airtight case, and then we strike. For the first time in years, Emily felt real hope. 3 months later, on a cold February night, the operation began. Operation Silent Scream. The FBI simultaneously raided 8 different locations across New York. 3 warehouses, 2 nightclubs, 2 hotels, 1 medical clinic. Helicopter spotlights swept the city. FBI vehicles surrounded each location. Tactical teams moved in. At the main warehouse, the SWAT team breached the door. Flashlights cut through the darkness. FBI, nobody move. What they found inside was worse than anyone imagined. Rescued victims emerged from the shadows. Young girls wrapped in emergency blankets. Boys who had been forced into labor. All crying, some with relief, some still with fear. FBI agents carefully led them out to safety and medical care. The youngest victim was only 12 years old. A small girl, trembling under her blanket, barely able to speak. An FBI agent knelt beside her. You're safe now. We've got you. The results: 63 girls and 14 boys recovered. 31 criminals arrested. Among them, 2 city council members, 1 police captain, 5 prominent businessmen. The rest were drivers, guards, and middlemen. All were led away in handcuffs as police lights flashed. 2 months later, The courtroom was packed. Matthew, Emily, Marco, and Sophia sat in the gallery as witnesses. 31 accused stood in orange jumpsuits, hands cuffed, facing justice at last. The judge, a stern elderly woman, raised her gavel. This court has found all the accused guilty of human trafficking, kidnapping, sexual exploitation, and organized criminal conspiracy. The gavel came down with a decisive crack. Sentences were announced. Main ringleader, 40 years. Police captain, 25 years. City council members, 20 years each. Others, 10 to 30 years. The courtroom erupted in applause. Matthew and Emily held hands, tears streaming down their faces. Justice. Finally. But Emily's greatest shock had come weeks earlier. When the list of recovered victims was released, she scanned through the names with desperate hope. And then she saw it. Sophia Carter. Age, 19 years. Her hands shook. It couldn't be. After 3 years, she ran to the hospital, down corridors that seemed endless. Room 304. Her hand reached for the door handle. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it would burst. She opened the door. On the hospital bed lay a young woman, thin, fragile, with haunted eyes. But it was her. It was Sophia. Sophie. Emily's voice broke. Sophia looked up. Recognition came slowly, as if from a dream. Emmy? Sister? They fell into each other's arms, sobbing. 3 years of pain, loss, hope, and despair, all released in that moment. I thought I'd never see you again, Sophia cried. I never stopped looking. Never. Matthew stood in the doorway, tears streaming down his face. He had helped make this miracle possible. The fight had been worth it. 6 months later, Matthew sat in his new office, modern, professional, with a city view. No longer a struggling immigrant, but chief investigator of Truth Uncovered. On the wall behind him hung a framed quote. There's only one way to fight darkness. Become the light. His computer screen showed the impact. Truth Uncovered statistics. 2 million followers. Teams in 15 states. 300 plus cases resolved. 500 plus victims recovered. The numbers kept growing. Emily received the Human Rights Defender of the Year award. Standing on stage, holding the trophy, she dedicated it to Sophia and all the survivors. This is for every voice that was silenced. You are silent no more. Marco found redemption. He started a non-profit organization helping trafficking survivors reintegrate into society. Every person he helped eased the guilt he carried. He was becoming the man he wished he'd always been. Sophia, slowly healing, enrolled in college, sociology major. She walked across campus with her textbooks, smiling, something Emily thought she might never see again. Sophia wanted to help others like her, turn her pain into purpose. The 4 of them, Matthew, Emily, Sophia, and Marco, gathered for a team photo in the Truth Uncovered office. 4 people from different worlds, brought together by tragedy, united by purpose. They had become a family. Matthew's parents finally came to America. His mother hugged him tight in their new home. I'm so proud of you, son. You didn't just build a life here. You saved lives. When Matthew called his mother now, there were no more lies, only truth and pride. Mom, I'm coming home for dinner. Everything is ready, son. We're waiting. Real happiness. Hard-earned. Outside, on New York streets, life continued. People walked safely, children played and laughed. But Matthew knew the truth. Behind the bright lights, darkness still lurked. The fight wasn't over. His phone buzzed. New case notifications from Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami. More girls missing, more families desperate. Matthew opened the files. The work continued. Matthew stood at his office window, looking out at the New York skyline. Millions of lights twinkled in the darkness. He remembered that cold December night when he was just a scared immigrant running for his life. Today, he was a voice for the voiceless. As Emily always said, when silence breaks, truth comes forward. The fight against darkness continues, one case at a time, one life at a time. Because there's only one way to fight darkness. Become the light. End of story. Final message for viewers. Dear friends, if you liked this story, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, US Story Nation. Here we bring you such true and heart-touching stories that need to be heard. Press the like button and turn on the bell icon so you get notified of every new story first. Take care of yourself. And remember, if someone around you is in trouble, don't stay silent. Raise your voice. Goodbye and God bless.